Hello, everybody. I'm Matthew. Today I'm bringing you 10 of the best horror movies that are on Amazon Prime Video right now, mixing in some classics with some more recent entries and hopefully a few hidden gems that you've never seen. All movies that are worth your time. So, without further ado, here's number 10. Number 10, The Endless. Two ex-cult members decide they need to go back and see their old family one last time to get some closure. Instead of closure, they find themselves questioning whether they made the right decision. The deeper they dig into the mysterious cult, the more questions they have and the less they can explain. With some Lovecraftian undertones, The Endless delves deeper and deeper into its own mystery. And like with any great mystery, the more you know, the more questions you have. The biggest question is, what exactly is this "it" everyone keeps referring to? Also, are these cult members brainwashed or are they truly the enlightened? The Endless is great for Lovecraft fans or anyone who likes a little thinking with their horror. Number 9, The Fog. Director John Carpenter, coming off his huge post-Halloween success, tells the story of a strange glowing fog that's sweeping over a small coastal town. Traveling with the fog are some vengeful, pirate-like ghosts. The movie sets a great mood, and there are some really solid performances from horror vets Jamie Lee Curtis and Tom Atkins. While not initially a huge hit, The Fog has gained a large following over the years. I personally love The Fog and consider it to be one of John Carpenter's most underrated movies. It's dripping with atmosphere and has a gorgeous set design. The Fog is not a gory film by any means, but instead uses a slow-building dread to deliver its scares. If you enjoyed John Carpenter's other films and still haven't seen The Fog, definitely check it out. Number 8, Grave Encounters. Grave Encounters is a found footage movie taking place in an old, abandoned, and supposedly haunted mental asylum. The movie follows a quote-unquote reality TV show as they film another episode of Grave Encounters, but the crew doesn't actually believe in ghosts and don't take it too seriously until some creepy things start to happen. To be honest, I did find the characters to be quite annoying in this movie. They're so disrespectful to the asylum and its spirits that I find myself kind of hoping something happened to them. And happened it did. While Grave Encounters doesn't do anything revolutionary for the horror genre, it succeeds by being nearly relentless to its captors. The asylum is almost always pitch black, and the crew find themselves unable to escape no matter how hard they try. Number 7, Nightbreed. Nightbreed is Clive Barker's follow-up to Hellraiser. Nightbreed has somehow managed to remain firmly below the radar for a number of years, although it has amassed a large cult following. The story centers on a man who is drawn to a mythical place called Midian, where a variety of monsters are hiding away from humanity. The idea that there's this hidden place in our world full of magic and monsters gives this film a lot of life. And as with Hellraiser, there are some absolutely phenomenal character and set design. If you love horror visuals, and particularly monster visuals, you will find a lot to like here. The plot is probably the weakest part of the film. There were a lot of production problems and the script feels incomplete. While admittedly it's not as good as Hellraiser, I still think Hellraiser fans and monster movie fans in general should check it out. Number 6, The Wailing. If you enjoy Korean horror movies or other Asian horror movies, then The Wailing is a must-see. The Wailing blends a great slow-burn mystery with various forms of horror to create a compelling overall package. The film centers on a policeman who is investigating a series of murders and a mysterious zombie-like illness that's plaguing a small village. The Wailing's story is great because you never truly know what's going on. This film will have you constantly changing your mind about who the killer is. There's also a lot of beautiful and often gruesome visuals. The movie does have a long clock time at 2 hours 36 minutes, but the whodunit mystery should be more than enough to keep you entertained. Number 5, Midsommar. One of the more divisive movies on the list, Midsommar follows a group of Americans who travel to Sweden to research a mysterious midsummer festival. But something strange and possibly sinister seems to be going on at the festival as the group starts to question whether they are truly welcome. Midsommar reminds me a lot of Wicker Man with its creepy cult, and if you enjoyed that movie, you would probably enjoy this one as well. Fair warning though, a lot of people felt that at 2.5 hours this movie was too long. While this movie certainly has its fair share of haters as well as diehard fans, I urge everyone to give it a watch and form your own opinion. Number 4, Hell House LLC. Ever hear those made-up stories about how a certain Halloween haunted house is actually real? Or about how a bunch of people died at a haunted house one time? Well, that's the concept of Hell House. You learn at the start of the movie that there was a big tragedy at a haunted house called Hell House where 15 people were killed. You spend the movie following the Hell House creators, learning about what happened and how it happened. This is a found footage documentary, and honestly, I found the concept to be quite fun. There are some genuinely unsettling moments, especially when the creepy props start moving around on their own. This is a great movie to pop in around Halloween and get yourself extra spooked before checking out the local haunted houses. Keep in mind, you're not getting Hollywood blockbuster production here, but that doesn't make it any less scary. Number 3, I See You. Do you love plot twists? Then you should definitely enjoy I See You. This movie has multiple point of view changes, which give you new information, which in turn completely reverse what you thought you knew. The film never really lets you have a good grasp what is actually going on. Leaning a bit more towards a thriller, this movie still has plenty to classify it as horror. Lots of creepy moments and tons of suspense. Honestly, I'd love to keep talking about this movie, but it's hard to say too much without completely spoiling it for you. I purposely given away as little as possible in the video. If you're still interested, I suggest you skip the trailers and just give it a watch. Number 2, Goodnight Mommy. Goodnight Mommy is a psychological horror film that plays a lot like a good thriller, but gets extremely violent and disturbing. The story revolves around a mother who returns home to her twin sons after receiving cosmetic surgery. The mother's face is completely wrapped in bandages, and she seems to be acting very strangely. This movie will cause you to question everything, including whether the woman, whose face is unseen, is actually the children's mother at all. The terrifying realization that the person who they trust and rely on the most might be an imposter drives the boys to fear and paranoia. The film is constantly ratcheting up the tension, and luckily it delivers an excellent shocker of an ending. Before we get to our number 1 movie, if you enjoyed this list and would like to see a part 2, then let me know in the comments, as there are tons of great horror movies on Amazon Prime. Number 1, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The reason I put Invasion of the Body Snatchers as number 1 is I think a lot of horror lovers still haven't seen this movie. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a remake of the also superb 1956 film by the same name and is one of the all-time great horror films. It's the rare remake that manages to improve upon the source material and still holds up great today. The plot follows a health inspector and his colleague who discover that humans are being replaced by alien duplicates. The duplicate perfectly resembles the person being replaced, but now with the mind of an alien. This movie gets really creepy and builds a great sense of paranoia as we try to figure out who is and isn't an alien. This is a movie I put off watching for years, but when I finally watched it, I was blown away at how good it was, and it instantly became one of my favorites. Thank you so much everybody for watching. If you made it this far, I'd greatly appreciate if you hit that like button. Check me out again for more must-see movies on Amazon Prime, Netflix, and more.